Dust cobwebs. Happy New Year. Happy 2026 TCO fam. It's your girl TCO aka Star Girl Chi and welcome back to the Chidera Onoha podcast. The 2026 chapter. I've absolutely missed doing this. Like, I have missed doing this so much. I'm really, really sorry for keeping you all hanging. But not to worry, your fave is back with another episode. I was really caught up in coming, here with something fresh, coming here with something different, kind of like a 2026 bang. And for someone like me, I always love to come, and drop words of wisdom and insight, in a way that just, makes you. I just said, I almost said makes. You guys, I don't know what's been going on with my accent, but I've been having a lot of Igbo moments. I don't know what's going on. I think the other day I was like, I was trying to say have faith in God. I said you just need to have faith in God. You get, I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. It's not funny. I've had a lot of it. But yeah, we move. I need to check it. I don't know what's happening. I just feel like it's just part of things that happen when you start growing up. But yeah, I was really caught up in the mix of wanting to come here with a bang, words of wisdom, you know. And then I realized I have to cut back as myself. And I realized I'm keeping you all hanging. And I realized I have a whole podcast I need to build, and I cannot keep waiting for the perfect time or even the perfect content to show up as I am, or to show up as I am. So that's why I'm here. Honestly, Happy New Year. This year has been magical. Honestly, it's been calm. It's been sad. It's been a mix of a lot of things, and I honestly spent a greater part of January, you know, doing personal stuff, like personal time. I've not even gotten to write down my goals. Like, I know my goals already, but I always have like yearly journals that I make, but I haven't even had the time to rewrite the goals. I'm even still thinking of some of the goals I have in my head, but I've never still had the time to write them down. It's just more of spiritual things, what Christians do at the beginning of the year, prayer, fasting, and all that. But it's been good, it's been quiet. I am so hopeful. I am so positive about the year 2026. And I cannot wait to see everything God said would happen. So, yes, welcome back. Ah, one thing I also want to make personal resolutions with, because I want to always make sure that I show up while growing. So, a huge part of my goal for 2026 for the podcast is to do it like on a bigger scale. And I found myself doing like a little retreat, meeting people, asking people, my listeners actually, talking to them on ways they think and I can improve. And I feel like my whole survey with these people just made me realize that you need to grow on the journey. Now, I know this is something I've constantly said episode after episode, but it's now more, it's, I get it now. There's no need to leave everybody hanging whilst trying to be bigger. I can do all that while still trying to be bigger, if that makes any sense. And most times, the process of getting bigger is just by going, it's just by doing, it's just by showing up and not ghosting. And I hope, you know, that this year I learned that, you know. But yeah, welcome. I think like this is just going to be a chit chat on how my January has been, whilst I tell you some of the things I'm learning in January. Actually, some of the things that have happened to me in January, and some of the things I'm learning, and I feel like it's going to be a booster for the remaining parts of 2026. So January actually started off really calm, really, really calm, if I must say. I got, it started off all, I actually crossed over in the hospital, but let's not get into that. I was able to do like a crossover service online, in our little nurse's room, you know. That same night I had like a love emergency, so I had to like even rewatch after when the place was calm. So I literally crossed over, attending to a patient. That's crazy, but let's not talk about that. But it started off all quiet because after then I had like this 1 week break I took for myself because I just needed to reset for the year. So instead of really calm, instead of really certain, I had, I just knew this year was going to be special and different. I mean, it's it's our Ebenezer year, and that word didn't just, so Ebenezer is the word of the year for CCI, you know, and it just sounded very, very personal and intentional for me because, yeah, let's not go into that. But January really started off all calmly. You guys, two people cut me off. I'm not even joking. Like, I did this little thing where I tried to wish my close friends Happy New Year and everything. And then I just wished a bunch of people who I feel like we had shaky relationships in 2026. And then somebody cut me off. I'm not joking. January 1st, they cut me off. I don't know. I feel like I'm not meditating, just reflecting on the whole thing. I just realized that, yeah, sometimes, yeah, I don't know how to put it, but I understood. And I don't want to tell people that myself, they don't cut me off. So, let me not say two people, I'm not sure. Let me not say two people. One person opened his mouth to cut me off. Just know that. And it's fine if people cut you off. One thing I'm learning is not everyone is your person, And I don't mean it in a don't do better, don't build yourself way, but generally speaking, not everyone is your person. And it's fine if people want to move past you. Yeah. Oh my God. So it started off all calm, hopeful, getting ready into the year, getting ready for you. Sorry, yeah. I had this strong desire to just want to be better in every sense, if that makes. So I was just getting ready, preparing in every way. Then the saddest thing ever happened on the 10th of January. I lost my friend. I think I'm better now, but that period was really hard. I was in so much shock, and it was a really emotional thing for me and members of my family because the said friend is like a really close family friend. So like it came with, like, I was heartbroken literally, and I could only think of the family and everything they are going. So my friend was on my podcast last year. Yeah, Chidera, you guys. Gosh, it's a sad thing. I don't want to get emotional about it again, but yeah, it happened. It was hard to believe, but we just had to pray about it. We just had to keep moving. We just had to, I feel like one thing, I also started writing on Substack, you guys. I had to dedicate a piece for him. I feel like one thing I learned from Dara's life is how he lived, how he chose love, and how he chose to see the brighter side always. I feel like his life is, let's say, ministry, but it's something people should really peep into. And I just reflected on his life, and in the midst of all the tears and wallowing, I found I was happy, and I know he's in a better place because of the kind of person he was. God has a plan we may not understand, but I know he's in a better place because of that. So it just really made me reflect, and just in general, we just have to know that, we have to keep living for an audience of one. What I mean, keep trying your best to just be a good person any way you can, if that makes sense. So that was the ministry of his life. It's emotional, it's sad, but it is well. So that was it. The other parts of January was just me moving through, trying to stay optimistic for the year, yada, yada, yada. Let's yada, 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 things like that. And I actually hosted my first event on Saturday. The way the whole event came was so surprising because I literally got that on a Friday evening. That was even the day of Dara's burial. I got a text in the night and I showed up the next day for the event, and the event went so well. This is my first actually hosted event. It was for a book launch for an Instagram friend, and it went so well. The compliments were everywhere, and I could not be more grateful to God on how he has brought me this presenting journey. If you follow my podcast, you already know that I'm a presenter, and I hosted my first event of the year already in January, and I am elated. I am so happy. I remember last year telling God I wanted to host an event before the end of the year, but it didn't come after my prayer. But I said, oh no, this year I don't try. If and look at January. So I am so grateful. I am literally grateful. So things January, and that's how it has been. We're preparing for February. So I think January was a mix of calm, and obviously there was sadness there because of Dara, but there was also hope. Honestly, I feel like I would just feel with so much hope, and I just know my Dara is in a better place. I feel like it just really made me see life differently in terms of how to live better. So it was really reflective. It was calm, reflective, and I think it's just going to set the tone for the rest of the year by God's grace. So our lives are basically ministries to everyone around us. However it is we live is what we'll be remembered for. And in a world that people are chasing a lot of stuff, in a world that, especially if you're in your youth, you're trying to, do better at that job, get a promotion, you're looking for your life partner to settle down, you're just trying to grow, leave the country, especially in this stage where everyone is just striving their best to attain higher or just become something. We most times forget the life around us, and it's not anyone's fault, but I feel like in the year 2026, presence is something that should be practiced in terms of, as much as possible, try to check how exactly it is you're living, because our life while on earth is a ministry to everyone around us. And honestly speaking, I know life is hard, life is overwhelming, but I myself am guilty of this overwhelming life, because I just think especially how adulthood, friendships and relationships are, people are just striving to move to the top, and it's nobody's fault here. But it's really important to try to put life in your days. It's try to put life in your days. What do I mean by try to put life in your days? Try your best to do something wherever you step. Something that just brings light. And you don't necessarily need to do too much. You just need to be present fully in that situation. And I feel like when you're present fully in any situation, be it friendship, relationship, that is when you truly add life into years or into days. I feel like presence is everything. And as I speak, I minister to myself as well, because when you have presence somewhere, it's hard to, you don't even need to be perfect. You just need to be present, if that makes any sense. Present in your own life. Present, you can obviously can't be present in everyone's life, but present in the life of people at least around you for the time. And then you're able to make life in your years. Then you're able to minister properly to others. Then you're able to show people a better way to, I don't know, just able to minister. And I feel like in this year, when we're chasing and writing down goals, it's also important that we practice presence in terms of regarding the relationships we have, you know. And I know sometimes I personally struggle with, relationships. I don't know. I struggle with it, and I feel like one thing I want to do better this year is to truly be present, And I feel like when you're present, every other thing changes. You know how you feel like, oh, you want to be a better friend. All just starts with just being present everywhere you are. And then your life ministers, and then your magic and glory shines forth. So yeah, I feel in the year 2026, as much as we're chasing money, chasing this, chasing that, chasing to be a higher version, we should also chase presence. When we are present in our workplace fully, you check up on your side mates, you check up on your boss. Not let's check up, just be present there. When you are present in our families, you check up on your mom, your sister. When you're present everywhere you are, you're able to leave, traces of your magic. You're able to leave something people feel, and your life ministers greatly to other people. So yeah, as much as we're chasing money this year, let's chase presence. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is what we did, how we were felt while we were alive. So help me God before you people. But yeah, thank you so much. I don't know what I'm going to call this, but that's my episode for today. Yeah, see you guys. We're back and we're doing every other Friday at 5 p.m. So see you guys, the other Friday after this Friday. You know how we do.